Welcome to Ascension with V, where we talk about spiritual awakening, ascension, and everything in between. I'm your host, Stashia Jeanette, aka V, and today we have a special guest who's about to take us on a journey with their unique gifts and experiences. Rejan, please tell us about you. Once again, welcome back. Also, let me just put it out there. Rejan had been on once before, and she and I get along very well. And I love what she does, and I love her work and all the things. So she is back to tell us more about all of her work, her gifts, and her passions for all things spirituality, healing, and all the things in between. Jen, tell us.
Hi, thank you so much for having me back. It's a pleasure to be here. Yeah, so I know that we got into my story last time, so I won't do that this time. But yeah, basically, I am a multi-passionate human being here on this incarnation at this time, doing what I'm passionate about. And currently, that is a combination of human design, just spiritual growth tools in general. I'm really, really into manifestation right now. I have been for a while, but I find myself on this roller coaster of being really into stuff for a bit, and then it kind of fades and I get into something else and I come back to it. And so right now I'm in another season of being really, really dialed into the manifestation process. I'm very passionate about that right now. And definitely bringing that into the work that I do with my clients as well, because who doesn't want to manifest their desires into their reality? And yeah, so doing lots of that and always incorporating somatics into my work as well. So combining human design and somatics, I really love to bridge the gap between science and spirituality. My background is very much science-based, did nutrition for a very long time. I still very much am in that realm. And that was actually my introduction into spirituality too, is a lot of Joe Dispenza's work. And he really does a good job of bridging the gap between science and spirituality and neuroscience and how that all plays a role in manifestation. That's another big piece as well that I'm also very much involved in at this current time, and that I find myself just continuing to come back to. So yeah. And yeah, I'm sure we'll get into all of the other things and what I do, but that's where I'm at right now.
Okay, so first thing I want to deep dive into is the connection between the manifestation and the somatic. Number one, how did you know that somatics was your thing? How did you discover the somatics? What is somatics for? If nobody has listened to the first episode, I will link the first episode with Rejan in the show notes, but just a brief synopsis of what the somatics are and how did you come up on this and you were like, yo, this is my thing. This is a real thing. And then tie us back in with how it loops in with manifestation.
Yeah. So somatics essentially, it's 11:11. Somatics essentially, for me anyways, not for you. It's 2:11 for you. Somatics essentially is of the body, in the body, right? So we're really conditioned as humans through our busy lifestyle, through whatever we're taught to really live in our heads and our minds and our thoughts. And yes, the brain serves a massive purpose in this life. And it's really important that we use it for all the things that it's useful for. But we get really caught up in living through it instead of actually coming into our bodies. Right. And our bodies are where there is so much wisdom. For most of us, our intuition is going to be felt somewhere in the body. Yes, we can have downloads that might come through the mind as thoughts or however that shows up for you. But even still, you're going to get your reaffirming yeses and nos for things through bodily sensations, through a somatic sensation in the body. And so yes, there's so much wisdom in our body, but we're so disconnected from our bodies and so living in our heads that this is where things like anxiety come in, because we're just looping in overwhelming thoughts and living in the past or living in the future, not actually being in the present moment. If you're in the present moment, you're more in your body, right? And so right. When I first heard that term of just come back into your body, get into your body, I was like, right. What does that even mean?
What do you mean? I'm here. Obviously.
Yeah. So it took me a long time to actually realize what that meant and how I can actually, quote unquote, come into my body. And really all that means is that you're essentially in the present moment versus in your head where you're thinking about a past situation or experience or you're projecting yourself into a future that doesn't exist. You're in the present moment. So you can still have thoughts and stuff in the present moment, but you can actually feel your body. So you can like feel your arms, you can feel your legs, you can feel your gut, whatever it is, you can feel the sensations in your body. That's essentially the gist of coming back into your body. And then, you can take it a step further and use it to tune into your intuition and to feel when something is a yes for you, feel when something is a no for you. That's a big part of the work that I do myself with all the decisions that I make, but also how I teach my clients to tune into their decision-making process. It's also a big part of human design. So that's kind of how we view like being in the body. And then somatic work is getting into the body, but also releasing all of the stuck and stagnant energy and emotions and gunk and all the stuff that we have kind of stored in our bodies throughout the years, through our traumas, through our experiences, through belief systems that we have, and liberating it. So liberating all of that stuff from the body so that you can come back into a place of homeostasis, so that you can come to a place of healing. And my personal favorite way to practice somatic work is through breath work. And I don't know if we talked about breath work last time, but I first discovered breath work when I was at the beginning of my spiritual awakening journey. And I was going through a lot of pain and grief at that time. And I had heard about breath work, and I always kind of just like, yeah, whatever. I know how to breathe. Like I've done yoga for many years. Like I know how to breathe kind of thing, not knowing that it was something completely different than that.
Exactly.
One of my friends at the time, she invited me to this breathwork event. And I was like, okay, yeah, I'm saying yes to all of the things right now. Like I'm in this yes phase of my life. So sure, I'm gonna go try it. And I went, and oh my God, it is not just like breathing like you do in yoga. I don't know if you have experience with breath work at all, but it's crazy. It's really crazy. So the idea with the breath work that I practice, and then I also facilitate and teach now, first of all, get you back into your body, out of your head, because that's, once again, something that we're really good at doing. So getting into your body. Yes. Yeah. Like even just paying attention to your breath. Like you can do this in meditation. That is getting you into your body. Your breath goes through your body.
Yeah.
Right.
Now that is something that I do. Like I'll be intentional about my breathing, especially when I'm meditating, because it's me being like, okay, I'll try to like breathe into my stomach or like breathe into my sacral. Do you know what I'm saying? And like pull up the pelvic floor, things of this nature. That's all that's where my knowledge of it and work with it goes.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many different types of breath work. I actually I say that that's when I started breath work, but when I think about it now, when I first started like really getting into meditation, I was doing a lot of Joe Dispenza meditations, which I still do every day to this day.
What is that?
Joe Dispenza, Dr. Joe Dispenza. He's amazing. I'm obsessed with his work. I've learned so much about meditation and spirituality and like the gap between science and spirituality through him. He's a neuroscientist, and he's got a very big following. He's got lots of books. He's got a series on Gaia. If you don't know who he is, I highly recommend checking him out. He's quite literally changed my life. But his meditations, one of the techniques that he teaches with his meditations is this breathwork exercise to quite literally get you reprogram not only your mind, but reprogram your body so that you can manifest what you desire. That's just a part of it. So that's kind of where I started breathwork, was his specific breathwork technique. And you just reminded me of that when you were saying like pulling the energy up from the base.
Is that something he teaches?
Yeah, it reminds me of like Kundalini breathwork, where you're bringing the energy from the base all the way through your head.
Yes.
But he like breaks it down very scientifically, which really jived with my brain. Like I love bringing the science into it. And he explains spirituality and manifestation with the scientific principles. So I'm like, get it. Like it just helps me understand it more, because that's just how my brain works. So one of his breathing techniques is very much like that Kundalini energy, but he just has his own lingo around it. So
yes,
that was actually my first experience with breathwork. Didn't know that was actually breathwork at the time until I went to this event.
Okay.
And because I was going through a lot of grief and pain at that time, I had a lot of stuff to release. And up until that point, throughout my whole life, I wasn't really good at feeling my emotions fully, let alone releasing. Like
Right.
we're really good, or we're taught to hold back on feeling our emotions fully. Like,
Yeah.
right?
Like,
Yeah.
what is this?
Don't get too angry. Don't cry. You don't need to
Yeah.
cry. Like how many
Yeah.
times are you told when you're a child, don't
Why are
cry,
you
don't
crying?
cry,
Or
calm down, calm down.
stop crying, stop crying. Or it's like, what are you crying for? I'll give you something to cry about. Like,
Yeah, I know. Yes, this is the conditioning, right? Or like, don't get angry. Why are you so upset? Like just completely invalidating our emotions from
feelings.
when we're child. So this is what we learn, and we could become adults, and we're like, well, we can't cry. It's too much. I can't be angry. It's too much. And if I am angry, because it's gonna happen, then I need to beat myself up for being angry.
Right.
Suppress it as much as I can, like avoid, whatever it is. And the whole reason why we avoid it is, yes, because of that conditioning, but also because it's uncomfortable. It's
Right. Yeah.
uncomfortable to fully feel our emotions. It's uncomfortable to feel grief, to feel pain. So we acknowledge it maybe, but then we're like, I don't have time for that. I got things to do. We're just going to ignore that, suppress it, suppress it. But it doesn't mean that it goes away.
No, yeah, not at all. Not at all.
And so
No.
it gets stored in your body, and it's going to show up. Either you're going to have a massive outburst, you're going to freak out on someone at some point because you've been holding that back for so long, and it's got to come out at some point, or it's going to show up as physical ailments in your body, physical imbalances, health issues, chronic illness. Like I've seen this so many times, in myself included.
Yeah.
And so with breath work or any other somatic practice, but breath work, because that's my favorite, it really helps to kind of loosen up the stuck emotions, the stuck energy, because emotions are just energy. So loosen up stuck energy in your body and bring it to the surface. And whatever it is, it's going to come to the surface, and you're going to get the choice to feel it in that moment. And that's why breathwork can be super intense, especially if you do have a lot of stuff to release, which I did at that time when I was first introduced to it. I had my entire life of suppressed emotions, but then all the stuff I was going through at that time that I wasn't actually fully feeling.
Yeah.
But I wasn't. So it was really intense. I was crying and I was screaming and all of these things. But that's the whole point of it, is to bring it to the surface so you can actually feel it, give it its space, give it its time to feel it, and then release it. Release it through crying, release it through screaming, release it through laughing. And it doesn't have to all be painful and negative emotions. Like I've had breathwork sessions after I had gone through quite a few of those painful ones.
Yes.
I've had breathwork sessions where it was like pure bliss, and I'm laughing hysterically, and I'm just like so grateful for life. Like it can be that as well.
Right.
But the somatic release is what helps you eventually get to that point. I do breathwork now, and it's, unless there's something very specific that I'm going into it for, I rarely have like really, really intense emotions to release now, because over time I have learned through breathwork, to feel them and release them. But now I don't hold on to them anymore. When something comes up and I'm triggered,
you feel it. You feel it.
I make time for it.
That's me. But like, my thing is that I do the shadow work thing of it, and this is where you're telling me this, and I'm like, this seems so familiar.
Yeah.
Because this has been me. Like my whole entire life has been this whole process of like dealing with the emotions, and like a lot of people, I feel like when you bring up shadow work, people run for the hills immediately, because, do you know what I'm saying? Because it's this kind of exactly what you just said. Like all this, it doesn't go away. Like it's just there in the Pandora's box waiting for you to open it up, and then that whole top layer of shit is just like the untapped emotions, the suppressed emotions, and the unhealed traumas that you failed to acknowledge and look at and deal with throughout your entire life. But then like everything underneath it is like the great, like all your untapped potential and gifts and abilities and things that you forgot about yourself or didn't know that you had within yourself. This is like stuff that I have been working through as well. But like again, kind of just different
They all interweave. They're
Exactly.
all that same kind of things. It's just different ways of doing it. And they're all valid and they all work together. And yeah.
Do you feel like that and it's like doing the somatic work and the shadow work are similar or the same?
Totally. Absolutely. I think that there's always going to be ways of weaving them in and out. I think with shadow work, like if you're not like familiar with being in your body and like the somatic sensations of that stuff, then it can be really like in the head with that as well, which I think is an important piece of it too. Like we do need to shift our mindset and our beliefs and all of these things around that stuff. But often the missing piece is like, okay, is it still in your body somewhere? So
Right.
like you might already be doing the somatic work without even knowing it, but a lot of the time we're ignoring that piece of it. And so we go through and do all the shadow work and the mindset shifting and the belief reframing, the reprogramming our mind, but then we forget that there's still all this stuff trapped in the body, and that's going to still create issues in some way or another. So it's got to have both. You have to have both. Yeah.
So I think we mentioned this on the first episode that we did about me essentially getting off of all of the medications and things. And that was a big deal also with it, was that, again, because I was on all these medications, all these SSRIs, these benzos and things of this nature, like not only did I not fully know who I was or what I was doing, but like I had essentially no connection to my body whatsoever. But also on top of that, having Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, it also like even further kind of separated my proprioception with my body. Like I got this thing, I work with, it's a company called Body Braid, and the Body Braid was meant to make you be able to feel, your body while you had it on, because again, most of us who have Ehlers-Danlos syndrome don't have that proprioception, that mind-body connection, which is why like a lot of times we would dislocate and not know that we had hyperextended because we can't feel it. And this whole process was super intense. We can, again, not being on the medicines anymore, it was that whole part of it, but being able to feel all the things within my body that I hadn't felt before. It was very strange. It was very intense, but like there was a lot that I learned from being able to like listen to the cues of my body. And again, now getting to the point to where I'm at now, I can tell like, like, I'm having neck pain, or I'm having like low back pain. I need to do some root chakra work. I need to do some throat chakra work. I need to do some sacral. I need to do some, like I can feel it. And my thing is doing like a lot of dancing or physical activity. Dancing for me, shaking things out.
Yeah. Very
is like,
somatic. Yeah.
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 And I didn't know that that's what it was, but like I just have gotten good at this point at just listening to what my body. Yeah.
That's it, right? Your intuition will always lead you in the right direction. Yes, I love dancing and shaking as another somatic release practice as well. That's another one. So yeah.
See, I didn't know that was like a thing, but someone told me, or maybe it was an intuitive thing. Anyways, things are blending here, but like there was a thing of almost all animals do like the shaking after like a stressful event, but like why do we not?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. I know. I watch my dogs do it all the time. I'm like, good job. Yes, they're constantly shaking. And I'm like, it reminds me. I'm like, okay, like I'll just be out for a walk and I'll notice like, because, our thoughts are what trigger an emotional response in our body. Right. And so I might not even be in the actual stressful situation, but I think a thought about it and then I recreate that whole somatic experience for my body again, which is what puts stress on you. So I'll be like out for a walk or something and I'll just happen to think of this stressful event and I'll feel it in my body. And I'm like, okay, time to shake this off. And I'm like, I don't care if I look like an idiot out in public, whatever. I'm just like, shake it off. And then it's like, okay, you can actually feel it releasing from your body.
Yeah. It's a real thing. But again, like, I didn't know. I'm like, why am I doing this? Why am I doing this?
Very natural. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, that's another thing too, is like we get so caught up in like looking foolish or looking stupid that we're like, well, no, I'm just gonna, can't even dance, can't even whatever it is, like, you know. And I get it. I used to be like that too. I don't give a shit anymore. But
now on that note, I wanna dive into that for a second. How long do you feel like it took you to get to the point of where you're like, I don't give a shit anymore?
I don't care if people think. My entire life.
No.
Right.
And if I'm
even still, it comes up.
That's what I was getting ready to say. And even if I'm being honest, like even still, I'll be like,
yeah. But I mean, it also wasn't one of those things that was even on my radar to shift until maybe the last, I don't know, I want to say definitely in adulthood though. Like it's not something that I was aware of as a child. I cared so much what people thought about me when I was a child and through high school and even after high school. And so I think it wasn't until I started this like coming into myself, like, okay, I actually don't like that thing, but I've just kind of always done it because everyone else is doing it. And I started to like just kind of realize, okay, like what do I actually like? What do I actually like? And I think that's where it starts, where you start actually trusting your own desires. And you trust them enough that you're like, well, I got to follow that because that's what feels good. I don't care that that's not what so-and-so is doing. And that's
exactly.
I don't have an exact time frame for you, but definitely within the last 5 or more years when I've been really on the spiritual path is exponential growth in that area of like not giving a crap what people think, because you can't. If you're caring what people think, you're not living authentically. You're not going to be fulfilled in your life. You're also not going to manifest what you want if you're constantly worried about what other people think, or if you're comparing yourself to other people. Like we were saying, it definitely still comes up. It's just not nearly anywhere as bad as it used to be. Yes.
Yeah. And it's interesting because there have been times recently where I'll get ready to post something and then be like, am I going to post that or not post that? Because what are people going to think? And then I'm like, but do I care what people think? And then I'll be like, post, like, right. Like, because I'm like, wait a minute. And I think that's like a really beautiful place to get to when you can, like, in real time, check yourself, you know, and be like, hold up, why are you doing that? Why do you think that? Why are you acting that way? Why are you preventing yourself from doing it? Do you know what I'm saying?
Breaking the pattern, challenging the belief that comes up. Yeah.
That, you know, because in this episode that launched Tuesday, the last one that you commented on about the conditioning and programming thing, like it's really starts with being conscious, like so conscious and self-aware of your energy, your thoughts, your body, your truth. Because if you can't catch yourself, you know what I'm saying, like mid-act or mid-thought, doing something that is unaligned or doesn't feel right or true for you, then you're essentially still looping in the...
Exactly. Yeah.
You know?
And I mean, even at first, you might not catch yourself till afterwards, but then you're just like, okay, right. Then that just gives you a little bit more information for the next time.
Exactly.
Yeah. So it's a process for sure. But yes. Yeah.
Yes.
And it really just is our old programming, our old neural pathways that we have that are like, you know, those take a long time and a lot of commitment to change and shift. And so it's really, really, really easy for us to just automatically go back to those old beliefs, those old thought patterns, those old cycles, whatever it is. And so it's like, don't beat yourself up if you do go back to that, because it's going to happen. It's just about catching yourself. Like, okay.
Yeah.
Here, silly girl.
Yeah,
like, hold up. Not do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Listen, and so that's recently something that I've noticed and I've caught myself doing, where I'm like, do I care? Why do I care?
Yeah.
Why is this something that,
you know, like acquiring? Like, what is it that I'm worried about? And like, usually the more layers you peel back around that, it's going to come back to essentially a fear of death. It's always the underlying, very at the bottom, is a fear of death. It's like, that's so silly. I'm not going to die from this. Let's just post it.
Yeah. And again, like it's funny that you said that, like the fear of death thing, it is linked to, I think I also said this on the last one, of like, you know, like the past life thing of like, oh, they're gonna, you know, because, you know, that's, you
exile
can't talk about
you
these
from the tribe. Yes. Runes. Yes.
Yeah. And so like it's exactly that, Rejan. Like it's this, I'm like, oh, I don't know, I don't want to rock the boat too much over here, like, but it's a process. And I don't know, I think it is also part of doing the shadow work stuff, going in with that, um being able to deeply introspect and, like you said, kind of go through and continue to peel back the layers. But it's like a little intimidating to start that process, you know?
Yeah. It's uncomfortable, and that's why most people don't do it.
Facts.
Yeah. The other thing about that too is like the more that you become who you're supposed to be, the more authentic you are, the more that you step into your purpose, and the more that you like make big waves and influence more people, you're also going to have an equal amount of people who don't like what you're saying.
Absolutely.
That's how you know you're doing it right, though.
Yeah.
Can't care about them.
Good point. Good point, though. Like, it has been this like very interesting thing. And it's almost, for me, like, it's almost kind of like God source universe being like, okay, checkpoint time. Like, how you going to handle this? How are you going to handle this? How are you going to handle this? Like, are you going to keep going forward? Or are you going to let,
Yeah, well, it's like you make a commitment to yourself. You're like, okay, I'm going to start doing this, or I'm going to stop doing this, or whatever the goal is that you set for yourself. And then the universe is ultimately, pretty soon after you make that commitment, it's going to come up with a challenge to see if you're actually committed to doing that thing.
Exactly.
And then that's when you get to make the choice of, are you stepping into that version who you're saying that you want to be, or are you going to stay the same person that you have been this whole time and not actually make that change? You have to be challenged. You have to be faced with these things in order to actually become the version.
Yeah. It's very interesting.
Yeah.
On the brain versus feeling thing, how do you feel like there's an easier way for people to blend the both, or balance out both, instead of being so much in the head and not being able to feel what's going on, or vice versa, being too much in the feeling but not having the logic? Do you know what I'm saying? The balance of the masculine and the feminine, but the balanced masculine and feminine versions. Healthy.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, it's so hard because like I feel like we're always going to be oscillating between the two, and we're going to fall somewhere on the spectrum. But I think with everything, I think awareness is so key. Like if you're aware of it, that's how you can start to shift it. If you're just not even recognizing that you're falling into these same patterns and beliefs, or you're not even recognizing that you're in your head, or you're not even recognizing that I don't know if you can be even two in the body. I'm sure there's people out there, but you can be two in your feminine, where you're like too laid back and too flowy and not actually taking aligned action too, right? So awareness around that is always the first step. When you're aware of it, then you can start to shift it. And even if that's going to be uncomfortable, just recognizing and admitting to yourself, I think, is huge.
Yeah.
Because once again, like that's the shadow work too, right? Like we don't want to admit to ourselves that we're in the same patterns that we always have been, that have been keeping us stuck, right?
Yeah.
So I think having the awareness is just huge. And I think most of us are really in our heads. Yeah. I think that's the majority of how it goes. And at least that's been my experience too. And I think it's just breaking the pattern. Like with anything else, it's like when you notice you're in those looping thoughts, or you're getting worked up, or you're getting stressed over something, recognizing, I'm in my head again. Okay, come back to the moment. However that works for you, whether it's sensing your body, coming back into your body, or even just looking around the room, like noticing what you notice around you, that brings you into the present moment. Taking some deep breaths to center yourself. You can do a little grounding visualization, whatever it is. There's lots of ways to come back into the present moment. But I think it's just catching yourself is like when you're in the loops. It's like, oh, okay, there I am again. I'm in the past, or I'm in the future, neither of which exist. Only the here and the now exists. Right. So how can I keep coming back? How can I keep coming? Because it's only from that place of being in the present moment that you're going to actually have the clarity that you want for tuning into your intuition, for tuning into source, for tuning into your decision making, for manifesting, for whatever it is. that effectively can only be done from present moment awareness.
Yeah. That's what my guides and God Source Universe would frequently tell me is like, you need to my issue is always being so far ahead and so much connected to spirit and other dimensions and things rather than here. And so last year was the start of them being like, we're cutting off certain points of your gifts so that you are literally forced to just be here. And it was like the most frustrating, and like I felt like a dagger through the heartness. And I was like, you don't want me anymore. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. But if you're a human, you still have to be a human, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And but they were like, you're too far in the future, and that's great for other things, but like you have to be here. Like you have to just sit down, like don't be over here. Don't be over here, just be here and work on connecting with your body and connecting with the proprioception and connecting with the things that are going on right here so that you can navigate and build from this moment instead of other realms and other dimensions. And man, I'm telling you, like I got emotional talking about that, because like I did it. I was like, what do you mean? I'm like, what do you mean? And I did, like, I felt like
planet.
You're right. It was like, they were like, you can't be with us all the time. You signed up to have like a physical human body and be here, and you need to be here.
Yeah. With all of your gifts and everything, like how amazing is it that you get to experience that realm as well in the ways that you do? But yeah, like keep coming back to like, what's your purpose as a human being in this incarnation? It's like, yeah, being connected to that stuff and sharing your wisdom and all of that so that we can wake more people up. And you still got to do it from a physical form. You still got to do it from here.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But it was rough. And so like now my thing is like kind of like you said, this trying to stay in the ebb and flow of, keeping the masculine and feminine balanced, because there were points where I'm sure everybody has gone through this or may experience this of being too much in the masculine of like, it's all action and we're doing this and push forward and push forward and push forward. And then that's not really it either, because now more than ever, it's definitely not about like just pushing through things, and just forcing things to be done. Like that's not it, and then I was, so that I got out of that, and then it was too much in like the laxed, like things will just come to me thing. Like,
yep. Oh, I get it. Yeah. It's definitely a balance.
Like I have spiritual whiplash all the time.
Yeah. Totally. At least you're aware of it though.
Yeah. No, like I can actively feel like, both like I call them like the emperor and empress constantly like fighting over who's driving the chariot today. Like, we're going this way. Everybody get on the same page. That's what we're doing. Everybody on the same page. Anyways, I want to talk about the speaking of the emperor and empress, the conscious relationships. What is that, and how can you explain it to people and all the things?
Yeah, I actually had someone ask me the other day, like, what is a conscious relationship? And I'm like, well, basically when both people in the relationship are quote unquote conscious, right? Awake to an extent, whatever that means.
Right.
So that they can both be aware of their own shit.
Right.
And be willing to work on it individually and then also collectively in a partnership so that they can continue to grow and evolve in that partnership.
Together.
Exactly. Individually and together. Like we can grow so much on our own and like outside of partnership. Like that was my experience too. Like I took over a year off of dating in between my last relationship and this relationship, and I really, really healed so much of the stuff that I needed to heal. And then I think I'm all healed in these areas, and I get into a relationship and I was like, oh, all these things come back up again, because one thing to learn it on your own, but it's actually really important to have someone else trigger those wounds in you so that you can heal them. But it's when you're in an unconscious relationship, and I don't think that that's what we would call it, but just when it's not in
healed,
like, not a conscious relationship, then, you're not taking responsibility for your emotions. You're not taking responsibility for your triggers. You are blaming, you're in the victim mentality, and then you're just stuck and you can't actually move forward in that relationship. And then it eventually just falls apart. Right. So there needs to be a willingness from both parties to be able to see and heal their shit individually and together, so that you guys can continue to evolve. And so that's kind of the answer that I gave the other day as well. But it's not even about getting into a relationship where you're both healed, because I think we're always going to have stuff to work on.
Oh no. Yeah. Like that's a forever thing. And I feel like it's like a big red flag when people are like,
I'm healed.
I've done all the things. I don't need to work on myself anymore. I've done it. Like, oh no, I'm perfect. I'm refined. Like,
for sure.
Right. Run.
Yeah. 100%. So I think it's just about like having that awareness too, that we're still going to have stuff that come up with ourselves, and like being okay with that and accepting ourselves in that. And also our partners, same kind of thing. Like they understand that they have their stuff, but that also you have your stuff, and that they accept and love you through that as you are also healing, and then vice versa.
Do you feel like that was something that you knew going into the relationship? Like was that a prerequisite?
Yeah.
Was that a conversation that you guys had like in the like, hi, so my name is Rejan, what's yours? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like you first sitting down at the table, you're like, let's cut the shit. And then you get the card out and you're like, where are you? Where are you at with this? What unhealed wounds and triggers do you have? How many narcissistic family members do you have in your life that have taught you X, Y, and Z? Where are you at with like, but all seriousness, was this a conversation like early on?
It didn't go exactly like that. Like, because I've evolved so much since getting into this relationship. So, just got to readjust myself. So my previous relationship where I was engaged, and that was a whole nother life, my old version of myself, very much like was not even aware of most of my stuff until very late in that relationship. And that's when I started growing and healing. And of course, that's what started my spiritual awakening. So taking that year off of just like deep diving into my healing and my growth and my spirituality, I started to understand, okay, what I learned from that relationship, and then what I was like not going to tolerate going into another relationship. Also what I wanted, and also like where I was currently at and what I needed in a relationship to continue to facilitate that growth for myself. Right. And so I actually wrote out a full like manifestation list of what I was looking for in a partner. And though there are some physical traits on there, a lot of it was like the emotional stuff and
the inside
stuff. Totally.
Yes.
And like the growth that we would do together, all those things. And I essentially was like, made a commitment to myself that I was not going to settle for anything less than that.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so I dated a little bit, but nothing was ever like this is just whatever. But I did take a long time off before I started doing that. And then I met my partner very, very synchronistically, actually. It was very, very cool. And at the beginning, it was kind of like all of the shit was brought to the surface. And
Snap.
So we were challenged like right off the bat of like, okay, like here's all these things. Like, yes, there's all these other like boxes that are checked, but like all of like the big wounds are coming to the surface right away. And it's like, am I prepared for that? And so it was right off the bat, it was like, okay, I see the potential of this relationship, and then we're going to set some boundaries and we're going to have some hard conversations so to make sure that we're on the same page. And that's kind of how it went. And then ever since then, it's been like a beautiful ongoing process of my growth, his growth, our growth together, and just really facing all of those things. But because I had set those boundaries with myself prior to going into that, I was like, this is my kind of like, this is what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
And I value myself enough to not settle for anything less. So that was just like, okay, yeah, we made it work. So yeah, kind of something like that.
Was it, but like, do you feel like it was a difficult conversation to have?
Yeah. And it's really, really interesting because that was kind of like my initiation into difficult relationship conversations. Like I hadn't done much of that prior. Like my last relationship, we had uncomfortable conversations, but they were never like from an intentional conscious place because neither of us were that.
We're there. Right.
So they always were like very triggered, very, knee-jerk reaction type of thing and not taking ownership for our stuff, right? So doing that right off the bat, like I was so terrified. I was like so afraid of like, this could just ruin everything. And I had to be like, that's okay. Because if it's not meant for me, it's not meant for me. And I'm not going to abandon myself just to people please, which is what I've done in the past.
Exactly.
Right? And I had such a strong trust and knowing that I am deserving of what I want and what I desire, that if this is not it, then
it's fine.
Exactly. It's out there for me and I don't have to chase and I don't have to, abandon my boundaries or whatever it is. I know that is what is out there for me. So if this is not it, it's there. So
exactly.
Having that conversation initially was very, very uncomfortable, but I was like, girl, you gotta step into the fear. You gotta step into the unknown. And that was my whole, continues to be as well, but was my whole theme in life up until that point is like, the fear.
Yeah, like,
and doing it anyways. Yeah.
Yeah. Not on the relationship thing, but like in general, like I'm like,
everything.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
100%. And like you could tell it was uncomfortable for him too, because also his first conscious relationship as well. So he's probably like, who is this girl?
Right. Like what?
Setting boundaries.
We're talking about something. And this is what I am and am not going to tolerate. And this is what I want and do not want. And this is what I like.
Yeah. But it was good though, because then it also set that boundary right away, right?
Immediately.
So that there wasn't any like confusion. And it was good. And then we've made it a priority that's what we continue to work on together, and that we're always honest with each other, and that we're always we actually do weekly check-ins with how we're doing individually in the relationship, triggers, and we work through it. And that's a priority. We do that every single week. So we continue to be really committed to our own individual growth, but also the growth of the relationship, because if you're not, then
exactly,
what are you doing?
What even is this? Like, what are we doing here? Yeah. So I was going to ask, usually in the relationship, there's one that's what do they call it? The attached style, and the other one's like the avoidant. Is that the case with you guys?
Yeah, I've reflected on my attachment style a lot, especially lately, because like I think it's evolved over the years.
You're Aquarius, aren't you?
Yeah, so you're like avoidant, but yeah, if you were to like label both of us in the relationship, that would be my role for sure. Avoidant, and his would be more anxious attachment style. But I think we're those labels don't actually really apply unless you were to like had to label them with something.
No, yeah, but like, are you able to like, so if he had to leave for like a month, would you be fine?
Yeah, and he does do that with his work. It's actually great because
it's actually great.
I think it's so good for the relationship, right?
It is, but it is though. Yeah. But there's a lot of people who have that super attached, the attached style where they're like,
yeah, like, yeah. And this relationship has really shifted my attachment style too. Like there's always going to be stuff that comes up, but I can see where I have way more secure attachment style now as well versus like in the past, because I feel like I've tried on all of the different attachments.
Yes, same. Yeah.
Same.
So So now you feel like you're able to like let him do his thing and you do your thing very autonomously, like with ease.
Totally. Yeah. We're both pretty good at that too. Like I said, we still are, there's always stuff that's going to come up, conditioning, traumas,
Right.
belief systems, but we're very aware of them. And when they do come up, we can have a conversation about it and recognize like how that's impacting the relationship. But yeah, like he goes away for work, he's gone all next week. And I'm like, amazing. I can
Have
literally,
fun.
like we love spending time together and we have lots of fun. And when I have that time to myself, this is when I get to do deep dive on my work again.
On you.
I love it. I love
Yes.
that stuff, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So
Yes.
then, it's a nice little break. So
Yes. And I feel like I say this all the time and then people give me the side glare and they're like, this is why you're single and you're gonna be single. And it's I'm like, but I feel like it's super important to have that alone time. I feel like it's not healthy to constantly 24/7 have somebody up under you.
No.
I don't.
And like we live together. I work from home, so I'm always here. And it's just like, doesn't matter how much you love each other and how much you spend spending time together. You still are your own person.
You're your own person.
And you can only do so much growth together before you stop seeing the patterns and the cycles and stuff. Like it really does take being on your own and reflecting and going inwards and doing some of that self-work. And it doesn't have to always be when you're alone that you're doing work either, right? Like go hang out with your friends and have social time and just like be out of each other's energy. And even like with our human designs, it's very, very important that we have time apart for our health and sanity. Like it's not him and it's not me. It's like literally our design. And that goes across the board for humans. Some people might need more connection than others, but like if you have a line 2 in your human design profile, you need alone time. Very, very, very important for you. And he's a line 2. I'm not a line 2, but I'm a projector. Projectors also need alone time.
That's what I was getting ready to say. I was like, we're both projectors. So what does that mean for us?
Yeah. It's really important for us because projectors are very open. Our energy is very open. So we're constantly picking up other people's energy from people, from our environment. And if we're still in the energy field of those other people or the environment that we picked it up from, we're going to keep holding on to it as if it's ours, but you're not going to be able to get rid of it. So being by ourselves, especially going out in nature by ourselves as projectors, that's really good for us, is going to help dispel, get rid of all that excess energy that's not ours so that we can actually come back to the present moment, so that we can come back into our bodies. Because if we are holding on to other people's energy, other things that isn't even ours, we might not have that awareness that we're in the past or the future or that we're living in our head or whatever it is. So really important to have that alone time, whether you're working on yourself during that time or not, just having that separation from other people's energy. And projector, line 2, whatever, doesn't matter. I think it's important for everybody.
You mentioned the human design aspect of it, but do you think that first of all, what is the line 2?
Line 2 would be part of your profile. So for myself, like I'm a 1-3. My partner is a 5-2. I'm not sure what you are. It's
1-3.
You're 1-3 as well. Yeah. Yes. So, I mean, the line 2 is called the hermit. It's very much about needing to be a hermit. And that's where a lot of your gifts and your genius actually come out, is when you're spending time alone.
Alone.
Yes. In on your gifts. But like, I'm not a line 2, and I also find that to be true. We have the whole chart. We have all parts of the chart in our design. We just have ones that are more expressed than other ones. So I have line 2 somewhere, but it's just not that. That's not my profile. Right. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. There's this. I think again, there's a lot. You mentioned even people who are married, going out places. It's important to have that time by yourself when you go out with your friends. But like, I know a lot of times people will do this thing where they don't want their partners to go places, without them. It's how do you have that time for you? What if he didn't travel? What if your partner didn't travel? Like, and you guys both worked at home?
Gosh.
What would right. So that's what I'm saying. Do you think that the relationship works out really well because he does travel? Or do you think that it would be...
That's a new thing for him, but I'm home by myself all day, and so I really will just see him in the evenings and on the weekends. But if we both worked from home all day, every day, we would both make it a priority to go and do something outside of the house. Like I even have to do that right now when it's just me. Like I'm like, I just need to get out of the house. I'm here too much.
Yeah.
So, just recognizing that. And I think I think we just get really comfortable with the familiar and the known. So that's like seeing your partner all the time, and like a big piece of likely why people are feeling uneasy about their partner going out and doing something without them is because there's a element of not trusting them.
Distrust. Yeah.
Right. And if you don't trust your partner, it's because you don't trust yourself. Like everything's just a big mirror. Everything's just a big reflection. So it's like if you are worried about them going out without you, like first of all, reflect on like, okay, what's the story underneath that?
Yeah.
You don't trust them in some way. And then the story underneath that is you don't trust yourself in some way. And then really dig into that. Like, okay, where did that come from? And once you heal that, you're not going to have issues with trusting them anymore. So they can go and do their own thing and you can go and do your own thing. And then you have this secure attachment. Right. But, it takes work.
You're like, yeah, I like how you gave the instant, the instant rundown of it. But you're like, but then anyway, I mean, that's what it is. But like, it takes work.
100%.
But you laid it out there so plainly, so fast. And then you were like, but anyways, that's a lot of work.
Which is why most people don't do it. They're just more comfortable with not trusting. They're like, well, this is what I know. All I know is to not trust.
Yeah.
And that feels comfortable for me, whether they're aware of it or not. So I'm just going to keep doing that. But you got to get uncomfortable.
Right.
To make changes in your life. You got
to heal. To heal in general, it's a roller coaster ride of emotions, of unfamiliarity, of uncomfortableness, of confronting the fear, of breaking through past life traumas and barriers, karate chopping your way through things. You got the machete cutting down the brush in the thicket,
all the things. 100%. That's what makes it fun, though. I wouldn't have it any other way. So boring.
It is boring, though. I also have this fear of like, I don't even know if it's like a fear of like making it, but it's like, you know what I mean? Where everything is just great.
Yeah.
All the time. And it's
your
just
greatness.
Not even, it's just like of like, it's like, well, where is the fun now? Like imagine if you were like a multi-billionaire.
Yeah, but multi-billionaires got problems too. They got like mother wounds, father wounds, trust wounds, whatever it is. Like no amount of money heals that shit.
I said that so many times. I was like, look.
Now we all at this. Want money, but like, wouldn't you want it from a healed place?
Yes.
Then you get to actually enjoy it.
Yes. Yeah. Instead of having like these, I used to do a lot of house and dog sitting. I had some clients in like some very like wealthy neighborhoods, like 8 to 12,000 square foot homes. And one of the neighbors, like I always saw them and like they look so unhappy. And like, I mean, like the grunge face all the time. And I'm like, why though? Like, why you? And it's because it's like you have such a beautiful house, but it's so empty and so like sad and lonely inside because
they're lonely and sad inside.
They're sad and lonely. Yeah, it's that. Yeah. And I'm like, oh,
reflection.
Yeah. And I'm like,
because people try and fill that void with something that they think is going to make them happy. Yeah. It can be money. It can be
sex,
house, sex, exactly, addictions. But if you don't actually solve the root cause of why you feel like you wanted that in the first place, you're always going to be miserable. You can be a billionaire, but still not love yourself. So you're going to be miserable every single day. So it's like, okay, how can I give this to myself? And even in doing that, like say you realize that you have issues with loving yourself. We've so many. We all do.
Yes.
But you think that money's going to change that for you. So then you work really, really, really hard and you make a bunch of money, but you still don't love yourself.
You still don't.
But when you actually realize, okay, like I don't love myself. Money's not going to do that. How can I heal that for myself? in doing that and healing that and loving yourself more, you are going to naturally become more magnetic for money coming into your life.
Yes.
And then you're going to get to enjoy it when you have it instead of being miserable because you don't love yourself. Like, you already love yourself. Then the money comes. Then you can enjoy it.
Like, look at this. Look at this. It's like a little bonus effect for you doing the work on yourself. Yes. Yeah. Delayed gratification, but it does come.
100%. Yeah. We live in a world of instant gratification and convenience that we don't want to wait. And then when we are doing the work and it's not working right away or according to our expectations of how fast we thought it's going to work,
the mind's expectation.
Right? The stories that we create, then we're like, well, it's not working. And then we give up. And then it's like,
but you didn't.
I'm just about to.
But it was just, you didn't. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's also one of my biggest challenges of this example of it is of everyone looking at like numbers, likes, views, things of this nature. Like, they've had to tell me frequently, like, it's not about the views. It is not about the likes. Eventually, those who need to see it will see it, and your things will blossom and everything will come to fruition, and all of the things are going to come together and click into place. But it's on divine timing. It's not when you want it. You can't make it go any faster. You can't make it go any slower. Literally, there's nothing that you can do to make this happen before it's meant to happen. And your job is to just stay committed to the process, even when you can't see the progress.
Exactly. And the more that you try to force it to happen quicker or in the way that you want, or the more that you want it, you're actually pushing it away.
Exactly.
It's not going to come to you if you are trying to force it in a way that's not actually authentic and how it's meant for you.
Exactly.
Big lessons.
It's a whole thing. What is that? Manifestation and Universal Law of Attraction 101. It's very interesting, bro.
All the universal laws. Oh my goodness.
All of it.
So interesting. Yeah.
Okay, what else do you want to talk about and mention? What are you working on? What do you have going on? All the things before we wrap up and close out.
Let's see. So I'm not sure when is this episode going to be airing? Do you know? Because that will kind of determine.
Probably in March.
In March? Okay. Yeah. So that won't be applicable to what I'm working right now. But yeah, basically.
You can still talk about whatever you got going. Yeah.
Totally. So
what is that? I was like, wait, is that behind you? All I saw was this black like thing come up in the
completely muddled up with the rug on the ground there. He's having a little nap and who knows.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yes. So my current favorite offering right now is what I call a somatic human design session. And so, yeah, it's so good because like as I love working with clients in longer term containers, and that's always something that I will offer. But for those wanting just like a one-off kind of taste of what I do, but also to get a lot of transformation just in one session, I really love the somatic human design session. So it is a combination of an intuitive human design reading. So we go through your chart together. And, I really like intuitively tuning into your chart too, to just kind of see what I pick up on, to see, what's going to be really important for you to know at this time about your chart, like whatever it is. And then also we can go into, like, say you're wanting, for instance, to manifest more abundance, more financial abundance into your life right now, but you're feeling stuck with it. You're feeling blocked around it. Your human design can tell you where, like, what exactly that block is that is preventing you from bringing that in. So we get really clear on any blocks in your life that you currently are going through your human design. And we do a little bit of coaching around that. And then we go into a somatic breathwork session because we kind of went into it with the mind and the intellectual side of things and really understanding it and shifting the mindset with the coaching in there a little bit. But then we move into the somatic piece, which is the breathwork. So I guide you through an hour of conscious connected breathwork to help liberate that from the body and really get you back into the present moment, back into your body, kind of like what we were talking about before, which is such an important piece. It's like, yes, the mindset piece and then the somatic piece. And then we finish it off with a little just more reflection and just integration. And then I always leave you with some type of tangible tool to take home with you to continue doing the work.
Exactly.
Continue reprogramming your subconscious, to continue whatever it is that the block that there is there, and within the context of your human design. So using your strategy and your authority and tuning into your intuition to make decisions through whatever your human design is. So that's my current favorite offering. And I love it because it blends all the things that I do. And then, of course, like I do all of that in bigger containers too. So we could really do a really deep dive into your human design and reprogramming your mind and getting you on track to essentially manifesting the life that you desire. And coaching is just one of my most favorite things to do. Yeah.
You're like, and then that's my favorite. Yes, because projector. I'm like, yes, because projector. Yes, here to guide. Yes. And also, happy birthday. When's your actual birthday?
My birthday was on the 3rd. That's what I was going to say. I'm like, when is this airing? Because I have a birthday sale on right now. And it includes all of the things I do, but it's only on until Sunday. So by the time this airs, it won't be
relevant. Right.
Yeah.
Anyways, but happy birthday.
Thank you.
And I hope that you had the best birthday ever and that you are going to do amazing, wonderful things that I know you're going to do this year with that birthday magic and that birthday energy.
Yeah. And my birthday was pretty chill because we had a snow day. When it snows on the island shuts down because we don't normally get this much snow. And so like we'll get a little bit. Sometimes
What's a little bit for you?
Like an inch. That's a little bit.
Okay. Or that's like the norm?
Like a light dusting. Some years we won't even get snow at all. It's a hit and miss, but then everyone on the island remembers the winter of 1996 where we literally had snow past our heads. Like we had a lot of snow, but that was never happened again. Like that was unheard of.
And then it never happened again.
Yeah. So it's very unpredictable. And like up until this point, up until we had a big snow dump a few days ago, it was very warm, quote unquote warm, but no, definitely no snow. So I have had a few birthday years where they've been snow days and everything had to get canceled, but that's okay. So it was a snow day. We went for a hike with the dogs in the snow. We had to cancel the dinner that night. Tomorrow, I'm going to go see my friends. We're going to a wild foraged dinner. And that's
you're going to get like mushrooms and things.
So someone else, like there's this chef that his business is to forage foods locally. And then he's a chef and he makes like a big, beautiful dinner from all these local foraged, wild, hunted, whatever foods. It's so much fun.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's awesome. Look, see, now you can do that and you're close to Valentine's Day. So you can have Valentine's Day and birthday awesomeness. Side note, what kind of dog do you have?
We have 2 dogs. This guy here, Jasper, he's a Bernedoodle. He's like 130-pound, big.
I knew it. He looks. Yeah, I was like his little black and white tail. I was like the.
No, he's like, I'm relaxing. I'm not gonna come see you.
He's anyway, like, I'm good. Yeah,
I'm
good.
My big fluffy boy. And then we actually just got a puppy 2 months ago. And she's crazy still, but she's like a pit bull King Corso mix. So she's also going to
be huge. Yeah. Like, oh, so she's also going to be huge.
Yeah.
Does she get along with the Bernedoodle?
Well, yeah, she's obsessed with him, and he's like not want anything to do with him.
He's like, please get away from me.
Literally, yeah.
Is he super crazy? Like all the Bernedoodles that I've ever sat, they like jump off of couches and like swan dive through the air, and they're always running around like doing funny, crazy.
He's super chill.
How old is he?
He's 5.5.
Yeah, no, maybe it's just the females. I don't know.
I don't know. We've met a few that, but he's first generation, so I don't know if that has something to do with it. He hasn't been like bred over and over again as a Bernedoodle. His parents were like a Bernese and a poodle, so he's got traits of both. But yeah, he's just a big, gentle giant, and literally the town celebrity everywhere we go because he's
not the town celebrity.
Yeah.
He needs an Instagram page now.
He has an Instagram page. He does.
I'm like,
I don't post to it anymore. I haven't posted to it for years, but there is one with a lot of photos.
That's hilarious to me. Like, it's the fact that I said it. And I was like, oh, he needs an Instagram page. Like, and you're like, oh, he has one. Like,
yeah, needs to be like, he needs to wear a sign on him every time we go out because we get stopped everywhere we go. Like, I can't go anywhere with him without getting stopped by people because he's so big and unique looking. And everyone's always asking like one of 5 questions. Like, what is he? He's a Bernedoodle. How much does he weigh? I always get people saying, do you have a saddle for him?
Can you ride him? Do you ride him?
No, but a little kid could. A little kid could for sure.
Yeah. I'm like, but have you ever sat on his back while he was laying down?
Yeah, we snuggle. He's like a really good baby
spooner.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yes. I'm like, yes. The doodles that I watch, they're golden doodles, and like I'm like, come here, let me love you.
Yeah.
He's so big. Like, I'm like, come here. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I know all about that.
Yeah. Like, yes. Do you hold his big paws?
When we spoon?
Yeah.
Sometimes. It just depends. We spoon every morning in bed. As soon as my partner gets out of bed, he comes on the bed with me and we spoon.
My turn.
Yeah.
I love that so much.
Yeah.
All right, Rejan, thank you so much for being here and sharing your wisdom and your gifts and your abilities and your energy and love with everyone.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, 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 yes. And then until next time.
Yeah, you're going to be on my podcast soon.
Yes, I am. I'm super excited.
Me too.
Okay, well, I'm going to let you go. And thank you, everybody, for listening. And don't forget, you can find the first episode with Rejan and I in the show notes. And then also, where can people find you on? I'll put it in the show notes as well. But where can people find you online?
It's funny because I'm going through a transition right now. So probably by the time this comes out, it will be new information. So currently I'm at, like, on Instagram is the best place to reach me, is at wholeharmonywellness, all one word. But I also have my new account, which is at Rejan Christine, Rejan Christine, all one word. I'm in the process of redoing my website, redoing my branding. I'm not going to be Whole Harmony Wellness anymore. That's a whole long story. So it will be, right now it's wholeharmony.ca. It's going to be changing to rejanchristine.com. Just got the domain. So by the time this episode comes out, it might be Rejan Christine versus Whole Harmony Wellness, but one of those.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks.
Either way, I'll have the correct things. I'll get with you whenever it drops, to figure out which one you want me to put in the podcast flyer and also in the show notes.
Perfect.
Okay, cool. See you guys.